இந்த சாமி எங்களுக்கு வேணும், நாங்கள் ஒரு சின்ன தேவை பண்ணாலும் இதில் பண்ணுவோம் எங்களுக்கு.
40-50 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி ஐம்பொன் சிலை திருட்டு போயிடுச்சு.
முன்னாடி ராஜராஜன் சோழன் கட்டின கோயில் மாதிரியே தெரியல பாருங்க, ஒரே காடு ஒரே பில்லு.
Please leave it to the devotees. We will manage it. If it's at the cost of our life, we will manage it. We have 44,000 temples in the government's hands.
There are just 11,999 temples in Tamil Nadu alone, which have no prayers being performed.
They are saying these 12,000 temples will die in the next few years. The government has submitted in the High Court that 1,200 deities have been stolen. Officially, it just simply amounts to apartheid if you ask me. That a certain community cannot keep their own places of worship. This is the soul of the community. This can only be done with tremendous involvement and devotion. Secular nation means a religion does not mess with the government and the government does not mess with the religion.
Tamil is not just a language, it is a culture, it's a civilization. The root, the source and the core of this culture and civilization is devotion. And the sthanas are the centers of this devotion which churns this devotion. In this culture, for thousands of years, is the temple which is built to a certain science. Temples became powerful means of transforming one's lives.
குழந்தை பிறந்த நாள்னாலும் கோவிலுக்கு போய் அந்த புது ட்ரெஸ் போட்டு கோயிலில் போய் அர்ச்சனை பண்ணிட்டு அந்த சாமி பார்த்துட்டு வர்றது, காது குத்துறது, ஒரு குழந்தைக்கு சாப்பாடு ஊட்டணும். கல்யாணம் அப்படின்னா கூட பத்திரிக்கை முதல்ல கோயிலில் போய் சாமிக்கு வைக்கிறது. யாராவது இறந்துட்டாங்கன்னா கோவிலில் போய் மோட்ச தீபம் போடணும். இந்த தெய்வத்தோட ஒரு சம்பந்தத்தில் தான் எல்லாமே நடந்தது, கோவிலோட சம்பந்தத்தில் தான்.
And unfortunately, today, these temples, these powerhouses, this very life center of Tamil culture is enslaved in the hands of bureaucrats and politicians who have no concern or care or involvement or devotion for these powerful centers which have been the heart of our Tamil culture.
This is very painful because a temple is not a place of prayer, it is the soul of this community.
UNESCO, the UN agency, says the traditional temples of Tamil Nadu are in a bad state of decay.
இப்படிதான் இருக்கு. யாரும் பார்க்குறாங்க, செய்ய மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க. நாங்கள் செய்கிறனாலும் அனுமதி கொடுக்க மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க.
நித்தம் பூஜை கிடையாது, 2 முறை விளக்கேற்றுறதுக்குள்ளே கிடையாது.
பசங்கள்லாம் இங்கே கோவில் யாரும் இல்லாத நேரத்தில் இங்கே ட்ரிங்க்ஸ் சாப்பிட்றது அந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள்லாம் நடந்துட்டு இருந்துச்சு.
ஒன்றுமே இல்லை, உள்ள நுழைஞ்சே போக முடியாது, பிரகாரத்தை வர சுற்றி வர முடியாது.
இன்னமும் இந்த கோயில் HRNC இந்து சமய அறநிலையத்துறை கட்டுப்பாடில் இருக்குது. இந்த கோயிலில் சுற்றுச்சுவரெல்லாம் இருந்துச்சு, அந்த சுற்றுச்சுவரெல்லாம் சுத்தமாக இல்லாமலே போயிடுச்சு.
40-50 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி ஐம்பொன் சிலை திருட்டு போயிடுச்சு.
முன்னாடி ராஜராஜன் சோழன் கட்டின கோயில் மாதிரியே தெரியல பாருங்க, ஒரே காடு ஒரே பில்லு.
Well, if they had demolished the temples, people would have built it back. But they have chosen to suffocate the temples, slowly make them into nothing. In the year 2020, in the Madras High Court, the HR and CE ministry has submitted that they are not able to maintain even one puja or ritual per day in 11,999 temples, just one short of 12,000, because there is no revenue. 34,000 temples have less than 10,000 rupees income, not per month, per annum. 37,000 temples, they are not able to appoint more than one person to do whatever is needed in the temple. That means the same person does the puja, he is supposed to clean it, he is supposed to take care of the management and everything.
It's time that the temples of Tamil Nadu come out of the clutches of the government and into the hands of responsible, competent and devout community.
கவர்மெண்ட்லேருந்து செஞ்சு தாரேங்கிறாங்க, ஒன்றும் தரமாட்டேங்கிறாங்க.
இன்றைக்கும் ஒரு சீட்டு எழுதி நீங்களே பாருங்கன்னு சொல்லிட்டாக்க நாங்கள் கட்டிடுவோம்.
கோயிலை நல்லபடியாக கொண்டு வரதுக்கு மக்கள் தயாராக இருக்கிறாங்க.
ராவா போல அழுதுகிட்டு இருக்கோம், பக்கத்தில் வேண்டி விரும்பி அதை வேண்டிக்கிட்டு தான் உட்காந்துருக்கோம்.
அவங்கெல்லாம் மத கோயில் பள்ளிவாசல்லாம் அவங்கள்ட்டே இருக்கிறதுனால அவங்களாம் நல்லா வச்சுருக்குறாங்க. இந்து கோயில் மட்டும் கவர்மெண்ட் வச்சுருக்கிறதுனால இது மாதிரி ஒன்றுமே பராமரிப்பு இல்லாமல் நிறைய கோயில் ஒரு கால பூஜை கிடையாது, ஒரு விளக்கறது கூட வழி இல்லாமல் இருக்குது.
இந்த சாமி எங்களுக்கு வேணும், நாங்கள் ஒரு சின்ன தேவை பண்ணாலும் இதில் பண்ணுவோம். எங்களுக்கு வேணும் இந்த சாமி.
Please leave it to the devotees. We will manage it. If it's at the cost of our life, we will manage it. How to do it, the complexities of it, we will look at that later. First thing is, the government should show the intent that the temple should be managed by the community, not by the government, in my understanding of what is secular. Secular nation means a religion does not mess with the government and the government does not mess with the religion.
I want to ask you, are you serious about these numbers, Sadhguruji?
These numbers are not my numbers. The HR and CE ministry has submitted this in the Madras High Court. So there have been various kinds of numbers flying around, but now they have submitted in the Madras High Court that this is a fact. And the other facts also about 34,000 temples has only one person who is there to take care of the entire temple. From puja to cleaning to security, management, everything is his, one person. Temple, now when I went there, hardly there's anybody, only one man. I asked this one pujari, how much do they pay you? He says 32,000 rupees. I said, not bad per month. He said, no, per annum. Per year, they pay him 32,000 rupees. What kind of management, what kind of service, what kind of atmosphere is that man able to create? So like this, it is going on everywhere. First of all, see, temple is a subjective affair. Unless somebody feels strongly in their heart, it cannot be done as an employment. I firmly believe that in a democratic country, before the election, every citizen of this country, if they consider themselves responsible citizens, they must clearly articulate what are the few things that must happen in their country or in their state. Now they don't say anything. After the election is over, then you protest, you cry, you make comments. This is irresponsible citizenry. I'm telling all the Tamil people, this is the time, in the next 2 months, don't go by my 5 points. You tell what are the 5 things that you want in this state. What are the 5 things that must happen in this state? Everybody must articulate. Now political parties must know this is what the people want. See, whether you are a theist or an atheist is your personal choice, all right? I am also not a daily temple-going person. But temple is not only about a certain religion. Temple is about art, temple is about history, temple is about culture. It is the soul of this community in many ways. But we have been noticing, we have been taking action about this, our volunteers have been trying to maintain many temples. But in 2020, the government presented, in the Madras High Court, that these statistics that I am saying, that, 11,999 temples, no puja happening because there is no revenue, 34,000 temples, there's only one person, and 37,000 temples, less than 10,000 revenue. So all these, they're saying these 12,000 temples will die in the next few years, that's what they're saying. The government has submitted in the High Court that 1,200 deities have been stolen, officially. This is an official statement by the government to the High Court of Madras that 1,200 deities have been stolen, they're gone missing. And so many people are saying, some police officers have written books saying that thousands of deities have been stolen but replaced by fake deities in the last 25 years. We don't know about that, which is fake, which is real, but we know there is a dilapidation happening all over the place. And I must tell you this, we have 44,000 temples in the government's hands. And we have over 500,000 acres of land in these temples. And we have 2.33 crore square feet of built area. With this, we are getting a revenue of 128 crores. How's that? For example, the SGPC, the Gurudwara Committee, has 85 Gurudwaras in their hand. Their budget is over 1,000 crores. For 44,000 temples, with 87% of the population which belongs to the community, you get 128 crore revenue? See, essentially, as I said earlier, somebody who has no feeling for the temple is managing it. As you said, somebody is atheist. If you're an atheist, what's your business with the temple, I'm saying? If you're an atheist or a theist, that's not the point. You have no strong feeling for the deity, then you will not keep it well. This is not a business. This is the soul of the community.
Yet, 75 years after independence, we are sitting and talking about governments managing temples, virtually owning these temples. Isn't this irony of the highest order?
See, if you read the fundamental rights that are given to every Indian citizen in the Constitution, and if you look at this HR and NC laws, it's absolutely ridiculous. It just simply amounts to apartheid, if you ask me, that a certain community cannot keep their own places of worship. So what they're saying is, many people's argument is, oh, if you give it to these people, will they manage better? Maybe they will do worse. So essentially what you're saying is, in 87% of the population, you can't find a handful of people who have the necessary competence and integrity to manage the temples. Government has to manage the temples for us. Then if you don't have integrity and responsibility to manage what matters to you so much, it is best the government manages our children, it is best the government manages our family, maybe we are not responsible at all. Ridiculous.
For all these years, Sadhguruji, the fact is that all other religions, whether it is the Sikhs, whether it is the Muslims or the Christians, they have private bodies managing their places of worship. It is only the Hindus and their temples, their places of worship, that have government interference. Do you see this as a design? Because, this started in the British era. Do you think this divide and rule policy is something that's continued with governments right up until now?
See, definitely by design, but whose design? You said British era. Well, Her Majesty's Service did not do this. In 1817, the first Madras regulation was passed by East India Company, a corporate. What was their business with the temple? You think out of devotion they took it over because there was mismanagement? No, just wealth. Their idea of a temple is land, gold, diamonds, wealth. Everything that they can transport, they transported. What they cannot transport is here. I am not interested in the wealth of the temple. This is the subjectivity of the largest community in the country. Now, this whole legacy is like this. In 1817, the first Madras regulation happened. In 1840, there was a directive that you must release the temples back. You know why? Because the Christian missionaries protested that how can Christian men manage pagan temples? It's a disgrace. So give it back to them. Because anyway, the gold was taken. After that, what is our business? They gave it back in 1840. In 1845, they handed back most of the temples, but by then, in many small temples, managements were destroyed, so they were left just like that. Whoever could take it over, they were doing it. And then in 1863, they again brought back the Religious Endowments Act. because then they saw it is not just about gold and wealth, but there was also land. So they came back again. And then they saw by 1925, temples were becoming the hubs of organizing freedom movements. So they brought back Madras Religious and Charitable Endowments Act in 1925.
And again there was opposition and it was converted not to Madras Religious, but it became Hindu.
Yes.
Only the Hindus were targeted.
That is because the minority strongly protested, they released them and only the Hindu temples were held. And later on in 1951, Hindu Religious and Charitable Endowment Act was passed, which was a serious draconian law, and that was struck down both by Madras High Court and Supreme Court. And then they came up with another compromise. Tamil Nadu Religious and Charitable Endowment Act was passed in 1959 during the Kamaraj era. So it's got nothing to do with atheist belief and nothing to do with the present two parties which are either in power or weighing for power. Nothing to do with any of them. It is way beyond that. It is just apathy which has left it just like that. It's time to fix it.
Do you think on one issue, control over temples, political parties from the far left to the far right are on the same page?
See, that is why the initial question that you asked, is this… are we taking sides in terms of political parties? Is this against an atheist belief versus AIADMK and BJP? No, I am saying all of them are doing the same thing. Whether it's AIADMK or BJP or any other party, everybody when they are in power, they're doing the same thing. So should a particular community come back, this issue of only one community should be inside the temple, I think we have settled it with the Dravidian movements. Communities were formed on the basis of profession. If you are a carpenter, you are one kind of achari. If you are a goldsmith, you are another kind of achari. If you are a blacksmith, you are another kind of achari. If you are a trader, you are one kind of Vaishya. If you are an agriculturist, you are another kind. If you are a ruling if you are a militant class, you are one kind. So based on professions, communities happened over a period of time. It is not that there was no transmigration, people could go. It is over a period of time where, unfortunately, people will perceive differences as discrimination and use it as a tool of exploitation. So if the Hindu temples, if you are saying, I am saying they must be liberated. Hindu temples must be liberated because one important aspect of this is, it never belonged to a particular religion, it belonged to a particular trait. Devi temples are made one way, Shiva temples are made another way, Krishna temples are made another way, Vishnu temples are all in one way, Brahma temples in different ways, and all the different kinds of Devis, they are made differently. These were all energy centers established for different purposes. According to your purpose, whoever you are, you could go there. And according to its nature, different class of people manage different types of temples. Should the Brahmins come back? Not at all. There was a time where if you had to be in the army, you had to be a Kshatriya. If you have to be in the temple, you had to be a Brahmin. Well, as you know today, you can join the Indian army, no matter what caste, creed or religion you are. So similarly, the same should happen to the temples. The only thing is the necessary training. So we can open up institutions which will do the training. So it doesn't matter what religion or caste you are, you should still be able to serve. Similarly, we must establish institutions where we will train people what should happen in a Shiva temple, what should happen in a Krishna temple, what should happen in a Vishnu temple, what should happen in a Devi temple. So, whoever learns the process and passes the examination, they will run the temple. Well, right here, at Isha Yoga Center, this is a classic example. Here the Bhairavi Devi, a stringent training process, because this has a certain level of ritual involved. Only women can do it. Men are only in the outskirts of the temple. They cannot go in because that's the nature of the consecration. Here in the Dhyanalinga temple, 1/2 of the month, the lunar month, men manage it. Another half of the lunar month, women manage it. But they're all brahmacharis, both ways. They're all ash people, because he is ash. It is beyond the 12 number, he is like that. Now there's a Kala Bhairava temple coming up. You will see there will be totally a different breed of people managing that. Yes, because that serves not only the living, that is built to serve the dead. So that needs a completely different kind of involvement, different kind of competence to manage that. So temples were not places of worship. Temples were not places where one man leads the prayer and everybody follows what he says. It never was. Priest only conducted a process. He's just there to facilitate. He's never ruling the place. He's never dominating the place. He's never giving a teaching. Nobody ever gives a teaching or philosophy or any kind of stirring up of the society. This is very important for the future of the world. So do not just call them Hindu temples. They are really temples where human beings can transform themselves. Human beings can nourish themselves for their inner development. As long as a human being is willing to follow the basic norms for which it is set up, basic purpose for which it is set up, and basic norms which facilitate that purpose, any human being should be allowed not only to enter the place, also to be in the sanctum. If somebody who is born as a whatever nonsense, high caste, low caste, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jew, Sikh, whatever, if they are drawn to a certain aspect and if they are willing to go through the necessary preparatory steps, today it can be established as an institution. You must understand, what was institutions has all been painted negatively as some kind of caste system. Now, institutions which trained blacksmiths have become blacksmith caste. It's an institution. Unfortunately, somehow the goldsmith people started propagating that goldsmiths are superior to blacksmiths. Though you cannot live without a blacksmith in a society, you can very well live without a goldsmith. Temple means it is trying to make a certain dimension of life which is crossing the boundaries of one's physical nature, available to people, available for people to experience that dimension. If you cross the boundaries of physicality, you have crossed all boundaries and divisions that you have created in the world in the name of caste, creed, gender, nonsense, all kinds of nonsense.
It is time, it is definitely time that uninvolved government employees should not be managing the temple. Devotees, for whom their heart beats for the deity, they should manage the temple. It's time to do this. Tremendous amount of work done a few hundred years ago, and here we have brought it to this state of just preserving it, not keeping it alive.